right, so I just thought I would sit down here today and talk about the Fire promo between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes, and we are going to talk about that, but literally seconds before I was going to push record, it not only got announced that The Rock has joined the board of directors of TKO, which essentially means in some weird way he owns WWE. That's not true, I'm exaggerating, but he is now got power in certain respects. But two, WWE has sorted out the Raw rights in America, and it's going to Netflix. And if you're over here in the UK, which I am, come January 2025, when all of this kicks off, not only are we getting Raw, but from what I can understand, I could be totally wrong because there's so much information out there right now, we're also getting SmackDown, we're also getting NXT, and all pay-per-views, premium live events, and documentaries, all that stuff will go to Netflix. What the flub is happening? Now, that is absolutely massive news, because again, if I told my mum the WWE was going to USA Network, she'd be like, I don't know what you're talking about, son. Get out of my house. It happens a lot. But if I tell her it's coming to Netflix, she'd be like, oh, I watched that. So the argument has always been, well, if WWE goes behind a paywall, so to speak, and it's not on normal free television, again, these aren't the right words, but you know what I'm talking about, maybe they'll lose a portion of the audience. Now, look, if you're a hardcore wrestling fan, it could be broadcast on the moon. I said this on a What Culture video. Make sure you check it out. You would still go out of your way to see it. But in terms of just trying to get more casual people to watch it, Netflix is not a bad place to go, because I don't know anybody in my life that doesn't have Netflix. Now, I know there's going to be some people, and maybe I'm exaggerating the point to a little bit, but I think out of all the suitors you could have got, especially from a news point of view, which is going to help the stock and it's going to get stockholders excited, which is what this is always about in terms of the business side of things, I think it's absolutely massive, and it could really be a game changer. Now, again, if I say anything that I'm mistaken on, I had to make lots of videos and try and put it all in my head. But from a UK point, it would make sense that they would do this, because again, NXT recently went back to the WWE Network, because I believe the TNT deal, that's where it airs over here. I know it's complicated because TNT in America, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. So that is, I assume, is going to go to Netflix soon as well. And given that SmackDown is also on TNT, and I don't believe WWE has made any new deal, well, look, this is what it says in the damn press release. So that is a crazy way to think about it. Now, I'm going to assume that prices are going to change at some point, because Netflix has never done live programming like this before. And I would imagine it's a little bit of a tester to maybe get into other sports. But even then, it's not going to be too much of a crazy price point, because you will price people out of the market. And to know that I can just sit down, and look, I have to watch all the wrestling anyway for my job, I'm a very lucky pup, and know that it's all on Netflix, it just sounds like a really smart idea. And it sounds like you're future-proofing yourself against whatever the future could hold. Now, I don't like to be the guy that goes, oh, television is dying, cable, cut the cord, because people said by now it'd be totally dead, and it's not. It's still puffing away, although the percentages have decreased a lot. But eventually, you'd have to imagine that everybody is going to want some kind of streaming service just because of the ease of use, if nothing else. So they're ahead of the game, and it is absolutely massive. And in terms of perception and making sure WWE feels like the big dog on top, it's just another tick in that box. And you know that, because if you go on social media right now, people are losing their minds. And I was a massive geek about this as well. When I saw it, I just happened to be on Twitter, thank goodness. You never say thank goodness I was on Twitter. It's a dumpster fire. But in terms of, I got to see it as soon as it did go up. I was texting my friends, and even my casual friends were like, what do you mean Netflix? What are you talking about, you stupid bald idiot? And even they thought it was absolutely incredible. So I'm massively intrigued to see what we do here, because of course they'll tie it in with documentaries, they'll tie it in with films, they'll tie it in with everything, which means we must get the Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, buddy cop movie, and it has to be terrible. I don't want it to be good. What's the point in that? I want it to be totally shite. So it's huge. It's a massive day, and it's one that we're going to be looking back from for ages. I believe it's a $5 billion deal over 10 years, but Netflix can opt out over 5, or they can extend it for another 10 or something like that. And I read, and I could be wrong here, that when in the US, when the SmackDown NXT deals come up, which is like 2028, they will also move to Netflix in the USA. Now, I could be completely wrong about that, but when I actually sat down and thought about it, I was like, well, that does stand to reason. If WWE is trying to shift their content to something like a streaming service, it almost makes more sense to have a home for WWE. I mean, even from a marketing and PR point of view, that sounds super duper fun. And again, if you're going to have your PLEs not on Peacock and they're going to go for Netflix, but SmackDown's on Amazon Prime, it's going to be really weird. So I think, I can't remember where I saw that now, but I'm now convinced that probably is going to happen. And maybe that's why there's an opt-out deal after 5 years, because that's when SmackDown, I believe, will be up for renewal, and they can change the parameters. And I would presume The Rock probably has something to do with this too. Not that he went out and made the deal. I presume that's Nick Khan and Triple H. The Rock has a relationship with Netflix. He made Red Notice and got paid like $20 million, which is absolutely absurd, although we'll power to him. Why wouldn't you? So if you're about to embark on this endeavor, not a pun, excuse me, that was terrible, and you know that you have someone like The Rock that has massive star power, and you announce that news before you also announce the news that you're moving to Netflix, well, this feels like a very smart play to me by WWE. It's essentially going to happen in 1 year's time. It's also 4 or 5 days before the Royal Rumble, and it just makes it feel like the company is absolutely smashing it right now, mostly because they are. So I'm very, very excited about this. I'm intrigued to see how it is going to go. Again, it's January 2025, so don't want to get too excited. I could be dead. Then I'll be like, oh no, why did I get so damn pumped? But it is awesome, and I do think it's awesome for AEW as well, because there were a bunch of rumors that they were going to be taken off Warner Brothers WBD, Warner Brothers Discovery. It turns out that was all smoke, fire, whichever words we want to use, and that's good, because I want WWE to flourish, and I want AEW to flourish as well. I want pro wrestling to flourish, because it's been very good to me, and I don't want to be very good to it. Well, I do, but that doesn't mean anything, but I just want the industry to continue to grow and improve and evolve, because then it means wrestlers get more money too. That's what it's all about. You have fun, you make money, you go home. Now, I want to move away from that. I want to start talking about the actual product, because it's always the most important thing, and there are probably elements of Raw we won't get into, but I thought, and I'm sure you all did too, and if you haven't seen it, make sure you see it now. The face-to-face between CM Punk and Cody Rhodes was just pure fire, and I saw some criticism going, oh, it's exactly what I expected. I don't understand where this swerve mentality has come from. It's the analogy I always use. If I sit down to watch a rom-com, once I would like this, but not always, but I expect the girl and the boy, or the boy, the boy, the girl and the girl, or whoever the two leads are, to get together at the end of it, and I'm like, oh man, why don't I have any love in my life? And then my girlfriend sits next to me going, you a-hole, I'm right here. That doesn't happen. That's a joke. And sure, on one time, if one of the leads chops the other lead's head off, I'd be like, oh, it's a nice twist. I didn't see it coming. But 9 times out of 10, you want the obvious. And while they did touch on the bullet points that I assumed they would, it was their fire, and it was their delivery, and it was their facial expressions, and it was just the performance. That always sounds a little bit disparaging, but I just thought it was a way to get you excited about a Cody Rhodes and CM Punk feud that will probably happen at some point in 2024. But that is what WWE is doing internally in terms of their in-ring product too. They are setting up the dominoes, so we can knock down this domino here, but then we can do this one, this one, this one, and it just means this hot period they're going on right now hopefully can just continue. And I think it was the first time that we have included Dusty Rhodes where it actually felt like it had an edge to it, not Adam Copeland. That's because CM Punk was talking the truth, because he told the story about when he was in OVW and Dustin rang him up and he's like, listen, CM Punk, I'm not going to do a Dusty impression. My boy's coming down there. I've got him signed up. Can you keep an eye on him? You don't say no to Dusty Rhodes. And now look, they're both main eventers. They're going to clash in the Royal Rumble. So CM Punk is going to break this promise. And then Cody did that amazing thing that he essentially did on AEW too, where he said, listen, man, you talk the talk with that promo, the pipe bomb, but I walked the walk. I did everything that you said you were going to do while you sat at home. Whereas, CM Punk's comeback was, well, your dad's called the American Dream. I'm the American Dream, pal. You were the son of a famous wrestler. That's how you got in. I had to climb to the top. So they both have these amazing platforms that they can stand on. And because they're so good at verbal sparring, I genuinely, if I want to suspend my disbelief, can convince myself that not they don't like each other, but they are friends who are vying over the same spot, and that is going to result in some excellent competition. So if you haven't seen this, I strongly suggest that you should. And if we can capitalize on that by putting on a experience at the Royal Rumble that ties into it, it could absolutely be one of the best Royal Rumbles of all time. And I still believe they'll be the final 2. I don't think there's a need to pull a swerve unless The Rock is in it, but again, that all ties into what you're going to do. Right, I'm not going to lie, an electrician came to my door, so I've totally lost my train of thought, but essentially, yes, maybe you shift things around if The Rock is in it, but that's going to be a point of conversation that we have on a video like this, because that's going to, 50% of people be absolutely overjoyed, and as we've seen from the internet, 50% of people be going, oh, Cody Rhodes, which is a massive plus point to Cody, by the way. He has managed to sell this idea of his story and being a success to such a degree that The Rock is coming back to WWE. Some people are like, nah, I don't want this to happen. I'm not a big fan. I also do want to point out it had an amazing segment between Gunther and Seth Rollins as well for a completely different reason. It was just so different to what we usually see from WWE. Now, look, I really hope Seth Rollins is going to be okay. I believe he has a partially torn meniscus. No, a broken, whatever. Partially torn MCL and something to do with his meniscus. And it means if he has surgery, he'd be out 3 to 4 months. So instead, he's going to try and rehab it. And look, it's worse timing, but it's okay timing because it's now January 23rd. So we've got a good few months before WrestleMania. So hopefully he can rehab it. But the coolest thing was, Gunther comes out. He's not your traditional bad guy heel in the sense that I'm not going to beat you up. I'm just going to tell you, I'm happy you're not hurt. I'm happy to hear you are going to go to WrestleMania because I'm going to win the Rumble. I'm going to target your knee because it's just the best thing ever. And I'm going to beat you for that championship. And the reason that works as well as it does is because it just puts more thoughts in your head. Oh, I'm sure CM Punk is going to win. Oh, but what if it's Cody Rhodes? Oh, wait a minute. Gunther is now here. And then there's Drew on the outskirts as well. Damian Priest declared for the Royal Rumble. So WWE has just done a great job in giving us stars. And especially around 2018-19, one of the things that they struggled with the most is they just didn't come up with the stars. was. Like, it was just John Cena and everybody else was kind of scrabbling around. But they have done a total 180, which is why I believe in this Royal Rumble to the extent that I do. I think we're going to get surprises. It's super cool that they only announced a few people. Usually they announce everyone. You're like, what are you doing, WWE? Do you not understand how much we appreciate not knowing who's going to be in the thing? And look, if Drew McIntyre did win it, I'd be a bit like, well, that's not the direction I would have gone in, but I totally believe that WWE has some stories to tell. And again, don't forget CM Punk can run the gambit with any of these guys. We've deliberately done a bunch of heads-to-heads. I was a huge fan of the Gunther, Seth Rollins stuff, and Gunther has just found his way in WWE now. He feels like such a unique character, and that's super duper cool. So yeah, an excellent episode of Raw, I thought. Still got a lot of work to do with the Women's Tag Team Championships. That's a personal bugbear of mine. Maybe I go on about it too much. But either way, WWE is killing it right now. Netflix, Raw, SmackDown, just absolutely wild. And I'm very excited to see how it does all play out. And again, that man coming to my house has totally thrown me, so I'm just going to have to draw a line under it, especially because now time is against me too. But as always, please do like the video, share the video, and subscribe. Leave a comment below. Patreon.com/Simon316. Also, GrillerMind.com/Simon. Obviously, I'm a fitness guy. Love going to the gym. And right now, if you like non-stim pre-workout, Griller Mode Night Trick, Tiger Blood flavor is 20% off if you use my code. And look, I just really support these things, and I'm happy to be part of the company because, again, I believe in what they do. Simon316 on Instagram and Twitter if you want to hear me go nuts on those things. Merchandise too was meant to be wearing my 1-2 tee. I forgot, so go and buy one instead. Cameo is Simon Miller, and make sure you check out the Royal Rumble videos as well. Yesterday, I ranked my favorites for the Royal Rumble and who I think is going to win the thing, and hopefully tomorrow I will predict all the surprises in the Royal Rumble, and I'll get them all wrong, and you'll be like, Simon, you're an absolute goober. That is true, but what a day. I need to go and lay down after I've edited this. Goodbye.